Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of This Dev Life. This is a show where we developers get to talk about the challenges that we face and how we go about fixing them. And also remember to like, share, and subscribe. So today is pretty exciting because we have a different guest. She's going to introduce herself very soon, but um, give it up for the girl, the myth, the legend, Elizabeth Adegbaju, aka Ade the girl. All right, Ade, let's hear it from you. What's up? How far?
Hi, um, I'm Elizabeth, or Ade, as my friends usually call me. I'm a DevOps engineer. Or yeah, DevOps engineer, solutions architect ish. But yes, I'm here to
Full
talk to you.
stack developer,
Uh, yeah, I did that
back
one.
end engineer,
Yeah, I
front
did
end
that one.
engineer.
Yeah, I did that one. But yes, I'm here.
Nice to meet you, Elizabeth, and welcome to the show. Today we have like a very interesting topic. Um, and we're going to be talking about Elizabeth. Surprise! We'll be talking about her uh, transition from developer, like a normal product developer, to a DevOps engineer. So, like, that's an interesting transition, and I'm sure like lots of people will love to hear your story and hear about like how all of this came to be. And so, tell us, how was it like, starting out as a software developer initially? Like, what's the story?
Um, it's not a very straightforward one actually, because
Hmm.
I started programming when I was a student, and
Really?
I didn't
Why?
stop. I, I, I don't know. After the first year in uni, there was this like programming boot camp, or they call it summer lesson. I can't remember, but it was programming boot camp by my school, by my program,
Hmm.
and we stayed back after everyone had gone home for like 6 weeks to learn a programming language, and then there was a hackathon at the end. So you were meant to pick between Python and Java, only
Hmm.
one of the two. And that's where my Python journey started. And anyone that knows me today would know me as this Python person, because it was the first language that gave me, I don't know, confidence as a programmer. And it keeps giving me more confidence, I guess, every
Wait,
day.
quick question. You had an option between Java and Python. Why didn't you choose Java?
Okay, that's it was a wise choice at the time, because I looked at the like our curriculum as students.
Hmm.
We were to take Python the next semester, I think, and then Java was going to come much later, or we'd already taken Java. But I just knew that Python we were meant to take as a course the next semester, and it just seemed really wise for me to do the Python beforehand and then come to school knowing the Python already before I have to learn it as a
Hmm.
course and take exams on it. That's why I picked Python that time. And I think it was a very wise decision for me, because it's kickstarted a lot of things down the line. I dabbled in Python for data science. I did the web framework Django, little of what's the name of this one? There's another one that is more lightweight than Django. I can't remember the name, but
I
yeah.
don't know the Python frameworks.
Yeah, I'm more of the Django person, but yes, I dabbled in some Python things. Even desktop applications with Python, PyQt, and random stuff with Python, sure. But I still had to do the Java down the line, and I write Java till now. Java for Android development, and then I switched to Kotlin for Android. But I really explored the software dev space, if you ask me.
So you're also a mobile developer.
Yes,
Oh my
yes.
goodness, I want to be you when I grow up.
I have an app on the Play Store, but I don't tell people the name because I don't want anyone finding it. At least not
What?
until.
It's on the Play Store. What's the name of the app? So I
Of
go
course, I'm
download
not going to tell you.
that.
No, no, I'm not telling anybody yet. One day,
So, so the journey was from your first year, and
yes.
how was it like up until you graduated from school? Like, what was the progression like?
Um, I started programming in year one, and I enjoyed it. I think it's not everyone that was studying computer science with me that enjoyed the programming aspect of it, but I enjoyed it. And those courses where we had to build applications, because in my school, every programming language we learn, we have projects, individual projects or team projects, depend. You have to build something, you would present it, you would defend it, and they would assess it. It would be part of your continuous assessment. I really, really liked those particular ones. So we did Python, Java, C Sharp, C++, C, PHP, even HTML, CSS. And every time I enjoyed it. Every new language we learned, I went deep into it and built as much as I could with it. I even built a web browser at some point. And then I remember with Java, I built this desktop application that was for food ordering. And with C Sharp, I built this laundry application. Like I always went all out in it, and I improved really fast because of how I put myself to the task. I was available to help my mates with debugging and solving their issues and helping them move from whatever roadblock that they're encountering per time. So I think it was really easy to grow fast. And then by the time I was in my final year, I think I helped people with like at least building five full projects in my final year. And then also maybe like the system analysis and design. I also really enjoy system analysis and design. So maybe I did like 10 more projects in that area for people.
That's a lot of things actually. It
Yeah.
makes me think about like what exactly was I doing when I was back in school? Yeah, it seems like you did quite a lot of things. So what was it like moving? Like, you're in Germany today, right? So was it after school you immediately like maybe got an offer somewhere, or did you get to work back home in Nigeria for a bit before you moved over? How was that like for you?
I worked in Nigeria for some time before I moved actually, because right from when I graduated, my first job post graduation, like I resumed less than a week after I got back home. And I stayed there. It was like a brief job because it was a recommendation from someone I'd worked with during the internship. And they knew I was looking for a more permanent position, but as long as I was available, they were ready to have me. And I was there for 3 months. Then I joined Upzone Group, where I worked for some time before I got this offer that moved me to Germany.
That's for how many months? That's 3 months.
Now, no, like 3 months in the first job, that was Lean Info Services, and then
Mhm.
I joined Abzone Group. So I spent like a year in Nigeria before I
Before you moved over.
moved. Yeah.
Must be pretty serious engineer. Like, okay, so at what point inside of all of this did you decide and say, you know what, I'm done with development and I want to start doing infrastructure related stuff. I want to start working as a DevOps engineer. At what point did you make that decision?
Okay. First, I would like to point that I landed in DevOps by mistake. It
What?
wasn't. It wasn't very
How?
intentional. I was looking for an AWS solutions architect role. I
Hmm.
applied for an AWS solutions architect role. During the interview process was when I switched into a DevOps role and got a DevOps engineer offer. They knew I hadn't worked as a DevOps engineer ever. And the gaps that were like the gaps that I had in my maybe experience or resume, they were aware of it. And apparently, there's no issue. I can learn it. I can grow in that area as long as I had the core skills that they needed. And that was how I got it. So before getting the job, the part where I switched, it was when I realized that the software engineer stuff I started when I was in school is not what it is in the real world.
Of
So,
course.
as a student, you do everything yourself, the entire software development life cycle, from
Yeah.
the planning to the maintenance to the deployment. Like you are working on your project, you take care of everything. And then the gigs that I did then too, I was working solo or with my guys, so we handled everything. But then in corporate environment, you realize that there are more niche roles. Like,
Everything is more specific.
yes, so it's not when you are undergraduates, you all do everything together. There's no DevOps engineer and developer, and we're all just software guys.
Hmm.
And then in the workplace, you realize that okay, you only have to work on the features, the bugs. Like you just need to keep coding and implementing, and you don't get to be part of the architecting, the planning, the pipeline, or the maintenance after. Like do you get like you
Yeah.
don't get to work in every aspect. And I started realizing that those aspects that I didn't get to work in anymore were more interesting to me than the features and the bugs that I was creating and
Mhm.
building and fixing. So I started looking for more um, challenges in that area, and it got tough.
So was the DevOps field that area or one of those areas that you were more interested in working on, or were there other parts that you were interested in working on?
Yes. So the first thing that I pointed out to my then manager was I wanted to be part of the planning process. Now, let me explain that. I was working as a consultant software
Hmm.
developer in my company, and sometimes you don't get to stay long enough with projects to touch every aspect, even if you are opportune to be. How would I explain it? Okay. So you get a project, and you're probably staffed to help the client build some new features or help them fix some bugs that they've already identified.
Hmm.
And then when you fix that or when you build that, then your work is done with the project, and that's all for that project. So it wasn't fulfilling for me to just build something that has already been mapped out by someone else.
But someone else, yeah. You wanted to
Yeah.
be part of the process of
Yes.
creating the thing from scratch, like the
Yes.
architecture.
Yes. So I was looking for more engagement in that area because I felt like I really felt fulfilled. Like it was stimulating to have those kind of conversations. And
Hmm.
that is an area where I thrive, if you ask me. Um, being able to brainstorm the logic behind how we want this whole application to flow, like we talking about. I mentioned system design and analysis was something I
Hmm.
really enjoyed. So being able to look at the system and draw out like the activity diagram of how this application should go, or even mapping out the connections, like the database, like I really wanted that aspect, and it was totally non-existent at this point for me. I was just expected to code, and I like coding, but it wasn't fulfilling enough.
I see. And was that this is why in the next role you had applied to be a solutions architect, right?
Yes, yes. I had because a lot of the projects I was working with, even as a software developer, were cloud based.
Hmm.
So I had explored the cloud space a lot, especially AWS. I'd worked with GCP before. Google Cloud Platform. And then my last company, I was working a lot with AWS, Amazon Web Services, and I had gotten really comfortable in the environment. I had taken some exams, I had learned, and I felt I had a lot more to offer than just writing codes. I could help you architect like solutions on AWS. I could help you plan what the product should look like.
Mhm.
And I wasn't getting that opportunity. So I was looking for a new role as an AWS solutions architect. Then I
And
landed
then you
there.
landed the DevOps one.
Yeah.
So so I see. And this is why you switched over. So it's more like you really would like to be a solutions architect, and then you landed the DevOps field by mistake ish.
Kind of like
Yeah.
they
But
told me I knew before, but
uh-huh.
I didn't go searching for DevOps
For
engineer.
DevOps, okay. But so far, what has the experience been like as a DevOps engineer? Is it fulfilling in terms of like um, what you initially were looking for? Like, do you still get to be part of like the building process and the initial system design process?
Yes, yes, it's what I was looking for. I mean, if you ask me, I would say this is the best point I have been in my career so far. I feel happy with the work I do and the things I'm learning. So there's a lot of new knowledge. Of course, I hadn't worked with infrastructure as code like extensively. Maybe I had read about Terraform, I had seen it, but I hadn't been the one like writing or building it. CDK, like all those kind of tools, Jenkins. I had done some lightweight pipeline stuff on my own project with Travis and all that, but not this kind
Not
of
in
skill.
depth as much.
Yeah, yes. So there's a lot of learning. I would say a lot of learning, but it's been interesting because I mean, there's nothing to lose by gaining knowledge. So it's just been growth, like upwards since then.
Yeah. How do you skill up? Like, you get to work in this um, new field that you never really worked in before, and you get to do new interesting stuff. Um, so, like like in your day to day, how do you skill up? What are the things that you read or videos or content that you consume that makes you a much better DevOps engineer?
Yes, good question. When I joined, my company actually gave me a specialized like onboarding compass for me to follow, and that has been really, really, really helpful. Like guidelines from more experienced developers from my supervisor, and I have been following the onboarding compass, and sometimes there are some things I have to pick up that are not in the onboarding compass. But I had a mentor, senior DevOps engineer, working closely with me and giving me like, let's say, homework, assignments, things to look into. So in my onboarding compass, you can see things like learn EKS and contribute to the EKS module that we have on so link. And then I go and learn EKS with the workshop in the link that they've put there. So there was that guidance coming from my new job. But also, if you don't have that kind of guidance like on a role, there is this roadmap roadmap.sh, that's the link.
Hmm.
They have different paths that you can follow, and it's really, really encompassing. We use it in my office too, like people that are trying to probably switch roles, like from maybe DevOps to software engineering or something. We use it in house to recommend like paths that you should learn this, you should know how to use these technologies, you should be familiar with these tools, and that has been helpful too. So a lot of AWS content because I work with AWS, then guidance from my colleagues and my onboarding compass, and then roadmap.sh. I think that sums it up.
Interesting. And so far, what has been like? What challenges have you faced in this new DevOps discipline that you switched into right now by mistake? Like,
Mm,
what are the challenges you see yourself facing daily?
I think one major challenge was having to understand that I can't start like adding so much value in that area right away. I still had a lot of learning and growth to do. So when I joined it, I couldn't just jump right in and start working on like actual like production workloads, client projects. So I was doing a lot of internal tasks. And sometimes I felt like I was a burden to my colleagues because they were making the money and I was eating it into my but my supervisor actually helped me get past that. When I say it was more psychological than physical because nobody ever approached me and said, "Hey, you're taking all the money and you're not contributing." But I think what he helped me with was showing me that I was growing, being more valuable to the company, and also helping my colleagues in house with the internal projects that I was working on. They weren't useless projects. They were actually deployed for use in house, made things easier for us. And yes, I was still contributing in my own way. So
So
that was
you
one.
were like a developer's developer. Like you had
Yeah,
your customers were other developers.
yeah, kind of. Yeah. So I was, building pipelines for some existing code that we had for them to be more efficient, like easy collaboration on this code and deploying new technologies entirely. I helped deploy that roadmap.sh in house on our own platform after cloning the repo and setting it up, and then we can update it, build on it, customize it right now,
Mhm.
and it's all nice. So those kind of projects were my practice hands-on projects, and it was kind of a little depressing at first when you realize like, oh, you were really hands-on working on clients projects as a software engineer, and then switching, it feels like you are starting from zero. But
Mhm.
then you just need to remember that you're not starting from zero. You have a lot of experience already that some of your colleagues don't even have. They are DevOps engineers, yes, but some of them don't have that vast experience coding, maybe data science or Android or backend, wherever you're coming from. You still have some knowledge that you can contribute even when they're going through issues. So that has been some things that I needed to sort out with
And that
my
has been it's been quite useful for you, right? Like the knowledge of your software engineering discipline, because yeah, it is a thing where people say like not everyone in the DevOps field comes from a software discipline, some like the software engineering discipline, right? Some of
yeah.
them are like fully ops people, and
Yeah.
then some of course are from like the software engineering discipline. So
Yeah.
do you think so far in your day-to-day tasks, this your experience so far, have you been able to apply these
Yes.
experiences somehow?
If you ask me, yes, I'll say a lot because right now I think I'm like this go-to person to write scripts and automate stuff because I have a lot of experience with writing Python language and stuff, and writing scripts is just easier for
Hmm.
me. But probably if I came straight into DevOps, I wouldn't have so much experience with running those Python programs, except maybe if I had interest in it. But I see that automating stuff with scripts, it's quite faster or easier for me and uh, kind of delegated.
Cool. I mean, it's been really insightful so far, getting to learn from your experience. Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for jumping on this episode.
Thank
Before we leave, do you have a little something for people, you know, like our audience, people that are listening or watching, like, and looking to switch? What do you have to say?
I would say you shouldn't be scared
Mm-hmm.
because I was scared at some point. Stepping into unfamiliar terrain, like you haven't worked with a lot of these tools or these technologies. You don't know how to deploy some things or the best way to monitor some. It can be daunting, but I think you should just trust yourself. If you
Mm-hmm.
know like this is what you are looking for, you are looking for more experience in this area, you want to touch this aspect, I think you should go for it. Don't be scared. There's no wasted knowledge, like, oh, all the things I've learned, like, what do I now do with it? Will I abandon everything? And don't be scared. Just go for it. Everything that you have learned, they are yours. They stay with you. They respect you. And I mean, that's beautiful. So yes, go for it if you want to.
That's nice. Thank you so much. No knowledge is lost, basically. So whatever you know, it's there and useful for whenever you need it. So there you have it, people. It's been a wonderful episode. We've been speaking to Elizabeth Adegbaju, aka Adidi Girl. Um, Thank you for coming on this episode. And thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching, and see you all next time. Bye
Bye
bye.
bye.